Before we start, stop for a second. Close your eyes and imagine a busy, ancient city. The air is thick with dust. Voices echo between clay walls. Men shout over baskets of grain. Women carry jars of oil on their hips. Goats pull against ropes. Children weave through the crowd. But there is something missing. No coins, no notes, no bank cards, just goods and arguments. A farmer clutches a sack of barley. He wants shoes. The shoemaker shakes his head. He doesn't need grain. He wants wool. The shepherd with wool doesn't want shoes. He wants salt. The salt seller wants wine. The winemaker wants pots. The potter wants meat. Everyone wants something. No one wants what the other person has at the same time. The sun goes down. Voices grow sharper. Deals fall apart. Somewhere in this crowd, a family will go home hungry tonight. Not because there isn't enough food, but because there isn't a simple way to trade. This is what a world without money looks like. If this chaos continues, you cannot build a great city. You cannot build a strong kingdom. You cannot build a peaceful life. Something is missing. Something that can stand between people and say, I am not food. I am not cloth. I am not land. But you can trade me for any of them. Something everyone will accept, even from a stranger. Something we now call money. Tonight, we're going to take a slow, quiet walk through 5,000 years of history to see how that something was invented. And once you see it, you will never look at a coin, a note, or the numbers in your banking app the same way again. This is hidden money history. For most of human history, there was no money. Small groups hunted together. They gathered fruit together. They knew each other's faces. They remembered favors. If I help you today, I trust you'll help me tomorrow. Simple, personal, human. But then things changed. Villages grew into towns. Towns grew into cities. Mud brick houses, narrow streets, crowded markets, strangers everywhere. Now you are not just trading with your cousin or neighbor. You are trading with someone you've never seen before and may never see again. A man arrives with jars of oil from far away. Another brings bright cloth from a distant land. You don't know their language well. You don't know their families. You don't know if they'll keep their word. Barter starts to crack. Economists today have a neat phrase for this problem. They call it the double coincidence of wants. You must want what I have, and I must want what you have at the same time. But for people back then, this wasn't a theory. It was daily frustration. They spent hours in the market, walking, searching, arguing. Trade slowed, construction slowed, food distribution slowed, and when trade slows, everything slows. A growing city could not survive like this. Civilization needed not just better goods, but a better way to trade. The first step toward that new idea did not begin with kings and crowns. It began in temples. Travel back to the land we now call Mesopotamia. The skyline is dominated by temples. Massive, stepped towers called ziggurats rise above flat roofs and dusty streets. People believe the gods live there, so they bring offerings, grain, oil, animals. At first, these are gifts, acts of worship. But soon, something else happens. Temples become storage centers. Picture huge, cool rooms inside, walls lined with bins and sacks. Sacks of barley stacked almost to the ceiling, jars of oil in careful rows. The air tastes of dust and grain. Priests and temple workers start keeping careful records. Who brought grain? How much? When? And why? On small clay tablets, they press symbols with a reed stylus. Numbers, names, quantities. These are some of the first financial ledgers in human history. Then comes the leap. Farmers begin leaving their grain in the temple for safekeeping. The temple has thick walls, guards, and above all, the protection of the gods. Why risk storing everything at home, where it can rot, be stolen, or be washed away in a flood, when you can leave it in the God's house? In return, the temple gives proof, a mark on a clay tablet, a small clay token, something that says, the temple holds this much grain for this person. Now imagine you are that farmer. You have grain in the temple. Your name is in the records. You need to pay a worker. You want to buy oil. You owe a debt. Do you drag heavy sacks of barley through the narrow streets? Not anymore. You can go to the temple and ask the priest to change the record, reduce your grain, increase someone else's, or you can hand over a small token that proves your claim. You are no longer trading only physical grain. You are trading the right to some of the grain stored in the temple. A claim, a promise, written in clay. Listen carefully here. This is important. This is not yet money as we think of it. But the skeleton is here, a trusted place, a stored good, a record of who owns what. If that sounds a little like a bank account, that's because it is. Temples have become proto-banks. Clay tablets are the ancestors of your balance statement. From this moment on, value can move without the grain moving every time. A quiet revolution has begun. But grain is still heavy. It can spoil. Rats can eat it. As trade spreads across rivers, deserts, and seas, people begin to look for something better. Something that doesn't rot. Something you can carry in a small pouch. They find it in metal. They find it in silver. Silver does not rot. It doesn't get moldy. It shines. It can be cut, melted, and weighed. Piece by piece, it can be measured. This changes everything. Instead of saying, this sack of grain for that goat, people can say, this much silver for that goat. This much silver for that field. This much silver for a month of work. Common units appear. In some lands, they call 1 unit a shekel. Silver becomes a ruler, not for length, but for value. At first, silver moves slowly. Temples hold it. Kings hoard it. Big traders use it for long journeys. But soon, another idea grows out of it. Debt. Imagine a farmer whose harvest fails. The rain did not come, or came too much. Pests ate the crops. His family is hungry. He has no grain to sell, no animals left. So he goes to a wealthy neighbor or temple official. Lend me grain now. I will repay you later in grain or in silver. On a clay tablet, they record the deal. The farmer's name, the amount, the deadline, and one more number, interest. He will repay more than he borrowed. If next year is good, maybe he can do it. But what if it's bad again? And again? The numbers on the clay tablet climb higher. At some point, he cannot pay. He has no grain, no animals, no tools. In some ancient laws, the rule is brutal and clear. If you cannot pay your debts, you and your family can become servants or slaves. Your freedom in exchange for numbers on a tablet. Silver, which once freed trade, has become a chain. Not iron on your wrists, but promises around your life. Invisible, but very real. Whole villages can slip into this shadow. Every harvest, their best grain goes straight to creditors. The poor grow poorer. The rich grow richer. Whispers spread. How long can this continue? The king watches this too. He needs farmers to grow food, builders to raise walls and canals, soldiers to fight. If too many people are crushed by debt, they lose hope. They run away. They rebel. They refuse to fight. The kingdom becomes weak. So, from time to time, something dramatic happens. A new king takes the throne. Drums beat. Messengers ride. and they announce a shocking decree. Some debts are canceled. On clay tablets, the word is carved for freedom, for release. Old debt tablets are broken on the temple floor. Families taken for debt are allowed to go home. Land is sometimes returned. For the rich, this is painful. They lose income. For the king, this is survival. Debt cancellation becomes a tool of statecraft, a reset button. The message is clear. Debt must not grow so large that it destroys the very people who keep the kingdom alive. Silver has given trade a powerful engine, but it has also shown money's dark side, and the story is still changing. Because weighing silver every time is slow, so someone, somewhere, has a new idea. Travel now to Western Anatolia, a small kingdom called Lydia. In its rivers, a strange pale metal glitters. Not pure gold, not pure silver. A natural mix called electrum. Lydian rulers see a problem and an opportunity. The metal is valuable, but awkward. Each lump is irregular. The mix of gold and silver varies. Every payment means weighing, testing, arguing. So they do something radical. They fix the shape, they fix the weight. They strike each piece with a royal symbol, a lion's head. Now, a small stamped lump has 3 key features: fixed shape, fixed weight, official mark. You don't need to weigh it every time. You don't need to test it in front of everyone. If the stamp looks right, you can trust it. Value has been condensed into a portable disc, a coin. Imagine you are a trader in a Lydian market. Instead of knives cutting chunks off a bar, instead of balances and weights, you have a pouch of stamped coins. You want bread? A few coins. You want a knife? More coins. You want perfume from a far-off city? Coins again. For the first time, value can jump from hand to hand to hand in seconds. No weighing, no scraping, no guessing. Other people see this idea and copy it. In the Greek world, city-states mint coins in careful silver. Each city chooses a symbol. Athens uses an owl. Others choose turtles, horses, bulls. To outsiders, they are just animals. To traders, they are brands. A silver coin with an Athenian owl is more than metal. It is a promise from the city of Athens. This coin is this pure, this weight, this value. You can trust it. Some coins become so trusted that they travel far from their birthplace. They carry not only value, but reputation, the name of a city, the reach of its navy, the stability of its laws, all stamped into a small disc. At the market level, coins do something else very important. They separate selling and buying. You can sell your olives today for coins, and tomorrow use those coins to buy shoes, tools, or wine from someone else entirely. You no longer need the perfect trading partner who wants exactly what you have exactly when you meet. The ancient problem of the double coincidence of wants has met its strongest answer: money. But coins do not only empower farmers and merchants, they empower kings. A king who controls the mint controls something deep. He can decide how many coins to make, what metal to use, what symbol to stamp. He can collect tax in coins. He can pay soldiers in coins. You cannot pay a large standing army in sacks of grain, but you can in small discs that are accepted everywhere. Coins help build that dangerous machine, the professional army. And once rulers understand this, the story of money and the story of war become tightly linked. Imagine you are a king. You have roads to build, walls to repair, temples to decorate, courts to run, enemies to fight. You need resources. You could take grain, animals, or labor directly. But these are hard to store, hard to move, hard to count. So you do something clever. You announce that taxes must be paid in coins. Now everyone needs coins. Farmers, potters, smiths, even if they don't care about money, they must find it to keep their land, their safety, their protection. They sell their goods and labor to earn coins, and then hand those coins back to your officials. Coins flow out from the king as wages and spending, and flow back as tax, a metal river. Now imagine another problem. You are planning a big war. You open the treasury. There are coins, but not enough. You could raise taxes sharply and risk revolt. Or you can do something less visible. You change the coins. You melt old coins down. You mix the silver with cheaper metals, copper, tin. You stamp the same face, the same symbol, the same value. To the eye, the coins look similar, but each holds less silver inside. With the same amount of silver, you can now make many more coins. You pay your soldiers with these new coins. On the surface, nothing seems wrong. But out in the markets, people slowly notice. Old coins feel heavier. They ring differently on stone. Merchants start to test, to compare. They realize the new coins are weaker. They behave the way humans always behave. They hide the good coins. They spend the bad ones. Old, strong coins are buried, saved, hoarded. New, thin coins circulate. Prices rise. If bread once cost 1 coin, the baker now asks for 2. Not because he is greedy, but because the coin is worth less. The stamp and the story are the same. The metal truth inside has been quietly stolen. This is one of the oldest forms of inflation. Not as a mysterious force, but as a choice. Take value out of money itself. Again and again, rulers push this too far. Coins become thinner, duller, more copper than silver. Trust breaks. Money changers argue loudly. Ordinary people rage. When rulers abuse the power to control money, their money weakens. Their people suffer. Their power cracks. Because money, at its heart, is not just metal. It is belief. Belief that these tokens mean something real. Our story does not stop with coins. It moves into something even more abstract. Paper. Imagine a goldsmith in a medieval city. People bring him their gold and silver for safekeeping. His vaults are solid, his reputation strong. Instead of carrying heavy metal through dangerous streets, they leave it with him. In return, he gives them a receipt. A piece of paper that says, "I, the goldsmith, hold this much gold for the bearer of this note." The paper is not gold, but if people trust the goldsmith, they will accept the paper, because they believe they can always turn it back into gold. Soon, people start trading the paper itself. Value moves from hand to hand while the gold stays still. The note has become money, not because of the ink or the design, but because of the story. This note can be exchanged for real metal. Governments see the power in this. They create national banks. They print notes on a larger scale. On many of these notes, you could once read words like, "I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of." Behind the paper, gold lies in vaults, at least in theory. As long as people believe they can turn paper into metal, the system holds. But pressure returns. Wars, crises, ambitious leaders. Again and again, states print more notes than they have gold. In moments of panic, they suspend conversion. You cannot turn this into gold, for now. Step by step, the link between paper and gold weakens, until, in many countries, it breaks completely. The notes in your wallet no longer promise gold. They simply say, in legal language, "This is money because the law says so." Fiat money, money by decree, backed not by metal, but by the power of the state and by the belief that others will take it too. At the same time, another shift unfolds. Banks learn they can create money with a pen stroke, or today, with a few taps on a keyboard. When you deposit cash, the bank keeps only a part. The rest is lent out. Your balance is not a pile of bills with your name on it. It is an entry in a database. Most of the money in our world today exists only as numbers on screens. No coins move. No notes change hands. Just digits going down in one account and up in another. The story of money has become almost invisible. Just as ancient farmers trusted clay tablets in temples, you now trust servers in data centers. Just as people once trusted the king's stamp on a coin, you now trust the symbols of central banks and payment networks. But the deep questions are the same. Who gets to create money? Who benefits when more is created? Who loses when its value falls? From grain in temples, to silver weighed on scales, to stamped coins, to paper notes, to glowing numbers on a screen. Money has always been more than metal or paper. It is a mirror. It reflects our power structures, our trust, our fear, and our cooperation. It can build roads, hospitals, schools. It can also fund wars, bubbles, and crashes. The next time you tap your card, hand over a note, or refresh your banking app, remember this: you are touching the latest link in a chain that began 5,000 years ago, in a noisy market where one hungry family could not find a fair way to trade. And this is only the beginning, because in future stories, we will see how inflation can destroy savings, how currencies have collapsed, how central banks rose, and how interest rates quietly shape the lives of billions. If you want to keep following the hidden story of money, you know what to do. This is Hidden Money History. Thank you for listening.